Have you ever noticed that in every small town story, there's always one character who just can't seem to escape bad luck? The person who always ends up in the shadows, watching someone else take the spotlight no matter how hard they fight. Well, in Sullivan's Crossing, that person isn't Maggie. It's not Sully. It's not even Cal. It's Lola Gunderson. And I'll be honest, Lola might just be the most tragic, misunderstood, and secretly important character in the entire show. I know that sounds shocking, but stay with me, because what's about to unfold is a web of rivalry, guilt, betrayal, and forbidden truths that no one in Timberlake wants to admit out loud. When I first watched Sullivan's Crossing, I thought Lola was just the classic rival character, the small, town girl with a chip on her shoulder, jealous of the big, city doctor who came home. But the deeper you look, the more you realize Lola is carrying the kind of pain most characters in TV dramas never recover from. And if I'm right, her storyline in Season 4 could completely change the Crossing forever. But here's the real question: why do audiences love Maggie, yet so many people despise Lola? Is it because she's truly unlikable, or because we've been conditioned to see her as the enemy of the so-called main heroine? Think about it. Maggie left Timberlake. She chased her career. She became a neurosurgeon. She had the big city glow up. Meanwhile, Lola stayed. Lola lost her grandfather, lost her mother, lost her chance at love over and over again. And to make it worse, the one man she leaned on, Sully, the father figure she clung to when everything else collapsed, was hiding the darkest secret imaginable. Yes, that secret. The hit and run. The night Sully, drunk and broken, accidentally struck Lola with his truck and kept it buried for years. The kind of truth that rots under the floorboards of a family until one day it explodes. Now let me stop here for a second and ask you something. If you found out the person you trusted most in your life had been lying to you for years, that their kindness, their protection, maybe even their love was tainted by guilt, would you ever be able to forgive them? Or would every hug, every comforting word, every memory feel like a manipulation? That, my friends, is Lola's nightmare. And it's why her character is so much more than just Maggie's rival. She is the embodiment of small-town wounds that never heal. But here's where it gets controversial. Because Lola's story doesn't just make Sully look bad, it makes Maggie look bad too. Think about it: when Maggie left, who was there to pick up the broken pieces? Lola. When Sully was spiraling in his addiction, who stepped in as the stand-in daughter? Lola. When the Crossing was struggling to keep its soul intact, who was still there, showing up day after day? Not Maggie. It was Lola. So why do we root for Maggie but laugh at Lola's failures? Is it because Maggie fits the hero narrative? The prodigal daughter who left and came back with fancy degrees? Or is it because Lola makes us uncomfortable? Because she represents the parts of ourselves we'd rather bury: jealousy, insecurity, longing for love, and the constant ache of being second best. And before we go deeper, I need to say this right now. If you've ever been fascinated by characters who live in the shadow of others, who claw for respect in a world that constantly overlooks them, then you cannot miss what I'm about to break down. So make sure you subscribe right now to this channel, because trust me, we're only scratching the surface of the secrets, betrayals, and forbidden truths inside Sullivan's Crossing. Now, let's talk about the real problem. Because Lola's storyline isn't just sad, it's infuriating. Every time she inches closer to happiness, something yanks it away. It's like the writers are determined to make her suffer. Let's list it out, shall we? She grows close to Cal, boom, Maggie shows up and steals his attention. She tries with Rafe, boom, Sydney cuts in, humiliating her in front of everyone. She finally finds Jacob, the sweet newcomer who actually likes her back. And what happens? They literally get trapped in a coal mine. A coal mine. I mean, who else but Lola could go on a date and end up giving someone a life-saving injection underground like it's a survival drama? But even when fate hands her someone good, Jacob, she pushes him away, because deep down, Lola doesn't believe she deserves love. And that right there is the forbidden truth. No one wants to admit Lola is terrified of being abandoned again. So instead of holding on, she lets go. Now here's the kicker, because in Season 3, we finally see her relationship with Maggie start to thaw. Enemies becoming friends, rivals becoming allies. And then the revelation. The moment Lola learns that maybe, just maybe, Sully wasn't the one who hit her after all. Years of guilt erased. Years of resentment dissolved. Suddenly, Sully is free from his chains, and Lola, she's left staring into the abyss, wondering what her pain even meant. So let me ask you, does that make Sully a hero again? Or does it make Lola the true victim of Timberlake's whispered lies? And here's where things get really messy. Because if Season 4 goes the way I think it will, Lola is about to step into a role no one saw coming. Not the bitter rival. Not the unlucky girl. But the dark horse of Sullivan's Crossing. The one character who might actually redefine the legacy of the show. But hold up. Before I reveal exactly how Lola's future could flip everything upside down in Season 4, I want to throw this back to you. Do you think Lola deserves redemption? Or do you think she's too far gone? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I've seen fans absolutely divided on this. Some people love her. Others want her gone. And honestly, that split is exactly why her character works. Because in drama, and in real life, it's not the heroes who haunt us. It's the complicated ones. You know, every time I think about Lola, I keep coming back to one forbidden question. What if Sullivan's Crossing has been building her up as the real protagonist all along? Hiding in plain sight behind Maggie's storyline. I mean, think about it. Maggie's story is almost too clean. She left home, she became successful, she returned in disgrace, and now she's finding her way back. It's the classic redemption arc, the kind of plotline that fits neatly into every coming home drama. But Lola's story is messy, twisted, heartbreaking, and doesn't real life feel a lot more like Lola's side of things than Maggie's? Let me tell you a secret that most fans of the show miss. In every scene where Lola is meant to be the rival, she's actually the mirror. She's the reflection of everything Maggie could have been if her choices had been different. Maggie left Timberlake to escape. Lola stayed. Maggie found opportunities in Boston. Lola found dead ends at home. Maggie came back with education and prestige. Lola remained with grief and regret. That's not rivalry. That's fate showing us two alternate timelines side by side. And the one nobody wants to live through belongs to Lola. Now here's the kicker, and it's going to sting. I don't think Lola is unlucky. I think she's cursed. Yes, cursed. Not by some supernatural element, but by the cruel writing of destiny. It's like Timberlake itself feeds off her pain. When she tries to love, it falls apart. When she finds family, it turns out they're hiding lies. When she seeks comfort, she's reminded of abandonment. And if that's true, then Season 4 might not be about Lola finally winning. It might be about Lola realizing that Timberlake will never let her win, unless she takes something for herself. Here's a forbidden theory for you. What if Lola's redemption isn't about her becoming good? What if it's about her stepping fully into the role of an anti-hero? Imagine this. Lola decides she's done being the underdog, done being the second best, done being the girl waiting for scraps. She turns cold, ambitious, ruthless. The girl who once sought Sully's approval becomes the woman who threatens his entire legacy. Wouldn't that flip Sullivan's Crossing upside down? But maybe I'm going too dark. Let's rewind for a second. Because the other path, the softer, more hopeful one, is that Season 4 finally gives Lola the love and friendship she's been starving for. Her relationship with Jacob, the one she pushed away out of fear, could return stronger than before. Her new bond with Maggie could transform them from rivals into sisters. And Sully. Well, Sully could finally embrace her fully, not out of guilt, but out of genuine love. But let me ask you honestly, which storyline would you rather see? Lola finally finding peace, or Lola embracing the darkness that Timberlake has forced on her? Comment your take right now. I want to know if you think she deserves happiness, or if you'd actually root for her to become the villain of Season 4. And here's where things get spicy. Because we can't talk about Lola's story without addressing the elephant in the room, her complicated relationship with Sully. For years, she leaned on him like a father. For years, she believed he was her anchor. But once the truth of that hit, and Run came out, it changed everything. Even if Sully wasn't truly guilty, even if he didn't hit her, the fact that she believed it, the fact that it poisoned their bond, can't just vanish overnight. So what happens now? Does Sully try to overcompensate, making Lola his second daughter alongside Maggie? Or does Lola resent him more than ever, not because of what he did, but because of what he allowed her to believe? Let's be real. Forgiveness isn't a magic spell. It's not a single moment. It's a wound that keeps reopening every time you see the scar. And if Lola's scar still burns in Season 4, it could explode into the ugliest family feud Timberlake has ever seen. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Come on, James, it's just a small-town drama. They're not going to push Lola into becoming some tragic villain. But I'll remind you, did you expect Sully to have such a dark backstory in Season 1? Did you expect Lola's entire life to unravel, because of one drunken night from decades ago. This show loves secrets. It thrives on forbidden knowledge coming out at the worst possible moment. And that's why I'm betting big. There are still truths about Lola we haven't uncovered yet. What if her rivalry with Maggie goes deeper than we think? What if it wasn't just about Sully? What if Lola secretly resented Maggie not just for leaving, but for surviving? Think about it. Maggie got to escape. Maggie got to succeed. Maggie got to live a bigger life. And Lola, she was stuck with death, loss, and grief. That kind of resentment doesn't vanish just because you have one heartfelt talk in Season 3. And speaking of Season 3, remember when Lola admitted to Maggie and Sydney that she had never been with anyone before? That one line, tossed casually in conversation, was actually one of the rawest moments of the entire season. It told us more about her character than any love triangle ever could. Lola isn't just unlucky in love. She's terrified of it. Because love means letting someone in. And every time she's let someone in, whether it was Sully, her grandfather, Jacob, even Cal, she's ended up hurt. So when we look at Season 4, the question becomes, is Lola finally ready to let someone stay? Or is she destined to keep pushing people away, even when they reach out with open hands? Now here's where I want to hear from you directly. If you've ever felt like Lola, overlooked, overshadowed, constantly second, best? Do you root for her because you relate? Or do you get frustrated watching her self-destruct again and again? Tell me in the comments, because this fandom is split right down the middle. Some people think she's tragic. Others think she's toxic. But maybe that's the brilliance of her character. She forces us to look in the mirror and ask which one are we? And let's not ignore the ripple effects here. If Lola finds redemption, it strengthens Maggie's storyline, showing growth in forgiveness and sisterhood. But if Lola breaks, if she goes down a darker path, then suddenly Sully's entire family legacy is fractured. It means Maggie might lose her father again. It means Timberlake might lose its moral core. And it means Sullivan's Crossing shifts from a healing drama into something far more haunting. And honestly, that's the kind of twist that keeps a show alive. So here we are, standing at the edge of Sullivan's Crossing Season 4. And I can't shake the feeling that Lola's entire journey has been leading to one final test. Will she finally claim the life she deserves? Or will the crossing swallow her whole? Let's play this out. Imagine the premiere of Season 4. The air is heavy, Sully is recovering from his health scares, Maggie is balancing her second chance, and Cal is still navigating his own demons. And then, Lola walks in. But she's not the same Lola. No, this time she's changed. Hardened, resilient, maybe even a little dangerous. Because let's be real, how many times can one person lose before they stop playing fair? Here's the scenario: Jacob comes back. Not just as the sweet, awkward newcomer, but as the man who chose Lola over everything else. Suddenly, she has love. Real love. But does she let herself have it? Or does she sabotage it out of fear that losing him will hurt worse than never having him at all? And then there's Sully. We've seen him as the flawed father, the broken man, the alcoholic fighting to stay afloat. But now that his guilt has been erased, will he actually step up for Lola? Or will he retreat back to Maggie, his real daughter, leaving Lola once again on the outside looking in? Picture it: Lola standing there at the crossing, watching Maggie and Sully embrace like nothing ever happened. Tell me that wouldn't burn. Tell me that wouldn't send her spiraling into a choice that changes everything. And that's the secret no one wants to admit. Family dramas like Sullivan's Crossing aren't about who wins or who loses. They're about who survives the pain long enough to find meaning. Now, I want to throw this at you as a poll. If you were writing Season 4, would you give Lola the happy ending she's been denied for 3 seasons? Or would you twist the knife and make her downfall the emotional core of the show? Drop your votes in the comments. Redemption or ruin? I'll be tallying them, and trust me, I want to see which side of this fandom really dominates. Because here's the wild part. Lola doesn't even need to be the lead character to steal the spotlight. We've seen this before in TV dramas. The side character, who suddenly becomes the heartbeat of the show. Think Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad. Think Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones. The writers didn't plan for them to take over, but their pain, their growth, their contradictions, they became unforgettable. Lola could be that character. She could be the Jesse Pinkman of Sullivan's Crossing, the one we underestimated, the one we pitied, the one who finally broke free. But if the writers choose the darker path, then Lola could be the Jaime Lannister instead, the one we hated, then loved, then hated again, until we were left stunned and betrayed. And here's a forbidden piece of knowledge that keeps me up at night. Maybe both are true. Maybe Lola gets her redemption, but only by embracing her darker side. Because sometimes, in order to survive, you have to become the thing you swore you'd never be. Now let's get personal for a second. I'll be honest with you. I've always related more to characters like Lola than Maggie. Why? Because life doesn't hand you clean redemption arcs. Life hands you messy heartbreaks, unfair rivalries, and the constant pressure of watching other people succeed while you're still trying to breathe. And maybe that's why Lola hits so hard. Because she's not just a character. She's a reflection of every time we felt invisible, unchosen, unwanted. But let me not get too dramatic. Okay, maybe a little dramatic. Because imagine if Season 4 pulls a plot twist where Lola actually becomes the heart of Timberlake. Picture her running the crossing. Picture her being the glue that holds Sully, Maggie, Cal, and the entire community together. It would be the ultimate reversal. The girl who was once on the outside becomes the one everyone needs. Now imagine the opposite. Lola snaps. She burns bridges. She turns cold. Maybe she even lashes out at Maggie in ways that make their newfound friendship impossible to repair. That's not just drama. That's gasoline on a fire. And in TV, gasoline always makes things unforgettable. So which way will the writers go? That's the tension that keeps us hooked. And hey, if you've watched this far, you know you're deep in this story with me. So here's what I want you to do. Comment your wildest Lola theory below. Do you think she and Jacob will make long-distance work? Do you think she'll turn on Maggie? Do you think Sully will finally choose her as his daughter in every way that matters? Or do you think, and this is my personal forbidden hunch, that Lola is being set up to carry Sullivan's crossing into its future long after Maggie's arc is done? Let's make this a full-on fandom debate. I'll be reading through every theory and roasting the best ones in the next breakdown. So don't hold back. And speaking of roasting, can we just take a moment to appreciate that poor Lola went from flirting at a bar to injecting insulin into a guy underground in a literal coal mine? I mean, come on. That's not romance. That's Grey's Anatomy meets the Hunger Games. If that's not the most Lola storyline ever written, I don't know what is. Now, before we wrap this up, I've got to leave you with one final thought. We always think the main character is the one with the brightest spotlight. But sometimes, it's the character stuck in the shadows who ends up defining the entire story. And for me, that character is Lola Gunderson. So here's the call to action. If you believe Lola deserves better, if you believe her story is the real heartbeat of Sullivan's Crossing, hit that like button and share this video with every fan you know. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? You've made it all the way here. You're part of this family now. Click that subscribe button so you never miss the forbidden theories, the wild reveals, and the secrets the show doesn't want you to see. Because trust me, Season 4 is coming, and Lola's arc might just blow the doors off Timberlake. And when it happens, you'll want to say you saw it coming first, right here. Now, let's end this the way Lola would: awkward, tragic, and just a little bit funny. Oh, you're in love with me? Great. Let's see if we can survive a natural disaster first.